Hello, everybody. I'm Rusty Peace. Today I'm talking with Lincoln Memorial University head men's volleyball coach John Cash. Coach, well,
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
it is another big week, and the season continues to march on. The Railsplitters continue to roll, and with that, you grow closer and closer to maybe some goals that were set preseason.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think we're finding ourselves in a little bit of a stride. We're finally getting over that flu that hit us pretty hardcore in the beginning of the month. That still seems to be hanging around the area and the cold and all that stuff. So we've been doing our due diligence, eating right, trying to keep everything as clean as we can and whatnot. So as far as on the court goes, though, we're doing some really good things. We've had some really tough contests and some tough battles, and we've been able to prevail in some of those. And road games are always a challenge. You know, you're going into a hostile environment. You got a lot of great players you're playing against, and you got to perform. And so we've been able to be very fortunate and find good ways to win. And a lot of that's player-led, on the fly, on the floor. Been very proud to see the progression we've made there in a month.
In reference to those road matches, I mean, in past athletic events, whether it be soccer, basketball, baseball, whatever, many times teams don't travel well. It's very tough to compete on the road, and you've got some, let's call it hostile environments for lack of a better term. But what's the key to success for this team?
Routine. When we go on the road, we try to keep it as consistent as possible as we would here. Most of the trips that we take, if we use our own university transportation, is 4 hours or less. We always try to find a break in there where we can get out of the bus and stretch our legs and do all that stuff, because when you got 20 guys on a 25 passenger, we're packed like sardines. It's pretty tight. So we try to get them out, get them stretched, get them walking around, do those types of things. Get to the gym early. One of our big things is early's on time, on time's late. We're always 2 hours early to our event, always. So we can get in the gym, and even if their baskets are down, we're shooting hoops. If they're up, then we're doing something else, running around, doing something, just to kind of get acclimated, get used to the sounds or the lack of sound, get used to the depth perception, walls, no walls, is it a big arena, is it a small arena? Those are all things that you have to get accustomed to as quickly as possible, so that the longer you're there, the better off you'll be with that. So those are always routines we go through.
With that kind of focus, then, it's got to be a welcome occurrence to return home to the Mars Gym and play here in the Holler.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, yeah, we love Mars. It's a great home court advantage. Seems like everybody who comes in here doesn't play near as close to their ability as they would if we were at their place. Belmont Abbey being a proof of that. You know, we controlled them through 3 sets here pretty well. High efficiency offensive numbers. We go to their place and we're down 0-2 to start, and it's like, holy cow, they came to play. Well, they came to play when they were here too. It never happened. And part of that is your home court advantage, right? Our fans, where we normally would have a lot of fans here on the road. I can honestly tell you that there's only been 2 games this year where we haven't outnumbered the road opponent's fans. That was one of them. And Emmanuel the next day was another one. So when we have our crowd there, that always helps, because they help get us going and make it feel like home on the road. But coming here and playing in Mars is special. It's loud, it's intimate, everything's right on top of you. It's a good place for us to play.
In regard to Mars Gym, it sits at the mouth of what is called Democrat Hollow. Back in the day, the 70s, 60s, maybe even beyond, it was termed the Holler, and there was a saying that it sometimes gets very foggy in the Holler. That being said, of all of the away places that you have played, what's the toughest, and how would you rank Mars Gym against those?
I think we're the toughest. You walk into our gym and it's, people always say, oh, I feel like we're walking into an airport hangar. And I go, well, you're kind of on the right path, but it's a little bit different than that. We don't have soundproofing. A lot of these newer places we go into do, which kind of absorbs and takes away that energy you feel when you go into a gym. I tell you what, I don't know that there is a place quite like ours that way. I would say the toughest venue we've played in was Hawaii's for sure. Stan Sheriff Center, playing in front of thousands of people who are definitely not rooting for you. They're not rooting against you necessarily, but they're not rooting for you to win. You're outnumbered there in a big way. So that was for the first match when we played there, somewhat intimidating. It was like, wow, and they're passionate about volleyball. So it's a different level when you go there. Next day, though, when we played there, we absorbed that energy and played much better. And I think there's something to that. Here, if you're the opponent, you're going to have a hard time absorbing our energy. You want this place to be quiet. If you can make it cricket quiet, then you're doing something pretty good. That doesn't happen very often, though.
So fans typically look at a match down the road and they anticipate the meeting of those two teams. Mm-hmm. But for most coaches, the most important match is the next match.
Right.
So in your opinion, with what you have coming up this weekend, what does this team need to do in order to prepare for that, and how are they going about that right now?
Great week of practice so far. We have might be the best week of practice we've ever had going into this, which is always a good sign moving into a big conference match weekend, with Queens being in the IVA and Limestone coming in next year with us as they switch all their sports over to the SAC, which will put them in the IVA with us. So both teams are doing pretty well. Both teams got some size. Queens returns everybody from the last 2 years, so they got experience now in the right places. Limestone's big, probably bigger than us, and doing some really cool things with their program and move some of their pieces around to be more successful, being very creative. So Steve's done a good job there. I mean, we know what we have to do. We have to serve tough. We have to ball control. If we take care of those two sides of the things, and our first ball side outs at a high number, we'll be fine. When we struggle is when we don't hit that first ball side out number that we're trying to hit as our goal. So if we do those things, we'll be in good shape.
The team's success under your direction here in Mars Gym has literally been off the charts. Overall, it's been almost as good. Looking into the crystal ball a little bit, what does this team have to do over the next several weeks? Because we are in that critical point in the season. What do they have to do to repeat and possibly surpass what they've done over the last couple of years?
Keep doing what we're doing. We do what we do. You can do a lot of film work and you can get tendencies and you can figure other teams out and you know who their stud is or multiple studs are and this, that, and the other. At the end of the day, you have to be true to who you are and do what you do at the highest level you can do it. Because if you can, then no one's going to really stop or slow that down. And that's kind of what we look at when we talk about what we're doing is getting better every day. Every touch counts. Everything that we do matters. And this isn't just coach talk. These guys do it. And when I say player-led, they're the ones that lead this march. So when we're in the weight room, there isn't a team on campus that's working as hard as they are in the weight room all year long. There isn't, and I would dare to say maybe even in the country when it comes to that, because our kids work really hard in the weight room, and I think you see that transformation year to year with our guys. When it comes to the court, it's just about each individual getting better, a better version of themselves, the better you, and then that transferring into cohesiveness with one another, and that being putting the best product out on the floor we can. We don't hesitate to substitute and move people around because we feel like our depth is our strength. And we've got guys that are in similar positions, middles, outsides, right sides, maybe play the game a little bit different, but doesn't mean they're not just as effective. So we feel really good about if we just stick to who we are and pick a couple things out that we want to do against somebody, then that's going to be our key to success moving forward. And we're getting better at it. It's been a slow progression, which in men's volleyball, that's not unusual, but it's been the progress we've wanted. And yeah, we're really looking forward to this weekend and getting better with that.